If you've ever tried to lose weight with so many methods but your scale is just not budging, this video is for you. Because what I'm about to share with you has nothing to do with extreme dieting or forcing your body into submission. But it helped me go from this to this. I lost 25 pounds without obsessing over calories, and in this video I'm going to share with you exactly how I did it and also how I have been able to maintain my weight by changing the way my brain and body responded to food. A lot of people tend to get this wrong. It's not the habits that we need to change. It's the identity first. I stopped manifesting weight loss through the place of lack and started manifesting it through the place of alignment. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how focusing on the end version of myself helped me change my eating behaviors, why hunger actually became a guiding signal, how certain type of fasting helped me break my addiction to food, and how that no longer felt like discipline and started being effortless. If you're someone who feels controlled by food, stuck in cycles, disconnected from your body, stay with me because this video might change how you feel about weight loss entirely. So the first point that I started adapting is I started focusing on the end result. What does this mean is when I looked in the mirror now, I no longer felt those feelings of hate or disappointment in how I looked. What I did is I took my attention, which is one of the most valuable things that you have, and I redirected it to what I want. This is what helped me personally. I'm not saying you should do this. What I did is I went to TikTok or anywhere and I saved a bunch of videos of people who had a body similar to what I was going for. They were sort of visual references, not out of self-criticism, but out of alignment. I would go on TikTok and I would save videos of maybe models of the clothes that I imagined myself wearing when I get to that body type that I wanted, and just videos of people who just look like they were in ease with their body. Again, not from a place of lack, but from eyes on the prize mentality. This is the key to achieving anything you want. Not from a place of lack, eyes on the prize. That's the tricky thing, because when you start to look in the mirror and disliking something you see and directing your attention towards that over and over, you're giving that thing power and it grows. So it would definitely mess with any progress that you made. And the more I exposed myself to that vision, the more familiar it felt. And as I was embodying this identity, I was thinking to myself, I don't just want to lose weight and gain it back up. And in order to maintain the weight, I had to adapt that identity, that version of me that had my dream body. What does she eat? How does she feel on a daily basis? How does she feel about food? Before I incorporated the things I'm going to talk about in this video, I was very much addicted to food. Even after eating, I was craving snacks minutes after eating. It was like a way for me to entertain myself and not just to nourish my body. And this version of me that I wanted to become was not obsessed with food. She wasn't constantly thinking about her next meal. She wasn't eating away her emotions. This is the part that you need to address as well, because it changes everything. Why does your brain crave these random snacks? Why do you crave snacks even though you ate not that long ago and your body is already nourished? I'm not talking about pregnant or sick people here. Pay attention to why are you craving certain things. Is there a certain emotions that are trying to hide behind those cravings? Is your brain trying to numb those emotions with the temporary taste in your mouth? Then as I started quietly embodying this version of myself, something interesting happened. Actually, the physical thing of my journey happened is I started implementing interval fasting. And I did not even research it. I didn't even watch anything that had it. I just started doing it, and I'm not even sure why. I began eating between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. And again, I tried not to address it as deprivation, but as communication with my body, giving my body that time frame of the day and saying, this is when we're going to eat every single day. And I did this in a span of quite a few months. I'd say I did this on and off for about a year. And now I just go back to it whenever I need to trim a little bit. For example, right now it's the holidays and I've been eating lots of food. So the other day I stepped on a scale and I noticed that I gained a couple of pounds. So what I've been doing is I haven't been eating after 5, and it has helped me go back to my previous weight. And I'm gonna tell you right now, my friends, this is not easy. I wish I could tell you it was, but the first week, the hunger in the evening was very painful because my body is not used to that. The second week, again, it was very uncomfortable, and I didn't get used to this feeling until maybe week 5 or 6, and then it became easier because I got used to it. Now, another thing here is when I did eat around 11 a.m., I made sure to eat something I love. I did not restrict myself heavily because I knew that if I heavily restrict myself, I will not be able to stick to this. So at 11 a.m., I made sure to have a nice filling meal, and I would eat a pastry or some kind of dessert. Maybe a croissant because I love croissants. So this way I ate and I kind of gave myself something, a treat, to keep myself happy. And for the evening, I just ate a normal, balanced meal to try to get as many nutrients as possible. And after about 6 p.m., I would stop eating, and that would be the most challenging thing for me because truthfully, I'm not the biggest morning person, so on my days off, by the time I wake up and get ready, it would already be close to 11. But in the evening is when it would get very difficult for me. But again, feel free to reference back those inspiration media, those videos, those pictures, those clothes you might wear. Feel free to reference those to keep you motivated and aligned. And the interesting thing about this is I was feeling hungry outside of that time frame that I gave myself. And how my brain works is when I'm hungry, I also feel like I'm slimming down. I think this is a huge factor of losing weight during this period because when I'm feeling hungry, I feel like I'm losing weight. And that's personally how I tend to lose weight. I've had a history of going to the gym almost every day and I would not lose any weight. But when I started implementing this fasting process, that's when I started feeling the hunger in between and I did lose the weight over time. And again, approach this with as much self-love as you possibly can. Instead of getting into a victim mindset, make sure you're telling yourself that this is your body learning a new baseline. You are not torturing yourself. You're not depriving yourself of anything because you're making sure to eat all the nutrients during that eating time frame. Just make sure you're not getting into the victim mindset and feeling bad for yourself. I'm gonna make a whole separate video about the victim mindset because it can ruin your life. So instead of falling into that victim mindset, make sure that you feel that your body is just changing and you don't need to eat snacks. And that brings me to my next point is that a lot of us, especially in this Western culture, we can view hunger as a signal that something is wrong. But it doesn't have to be a signal of something being wrong unless you're actually starving, you don't have any way to get your next food or your next meal, you're just on the streets. That's the only way that the hunger is really bad. But when you know that you're going to eat at a certain time, just treat your hunger as a signal. I am changing and I am slimming down. And what actually happened over time is that I emotionally changed of how I was feeling towards the food. Nowadays, I don't crave food as much as I did before. Why? Because during that period, I became so familiar and comfortable with those slight uncomfortable feelings of hunger and those little signals my brain was giving to have a snack that I don't eat as much nowadays. And sometimes, believe it or not, I forget to eat. I would be doing something and my stomach would feel hunger and I would be like, oh shoot, I forgot to eat dinner. Let me go eat dinner. I'm not saying this is necessarily the best thing, that me forgetting to eat, but I'm just saying that food is no longer a priority in my life. Now I feel like I have authority over my food choices. I no longer reach for food that my body just does not need anymore. I'm not overeating. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I didn't just overeat in the past. I had a serious addiction to food. And back then for me, food was not nourishment. It was these dopamine hits, distraction from mental issues. It was a source of comfort, and it was a way for me to regulate my emotions. And what this method of me reframing my brain and fasting did to me is it freed me from that addiction, and it's truly changed my life and also helped me build my willpower stronger than it already was. And now today, I became somebody who eats when they're hungry and not just from emotions, from a place of lack. I don't feel guilty when I eat. My life doesn't revolve around food. And here I want to point out that I lost 25 pounds over the span of about 2 years. So you can clearly see here how this method is not aggressive with your body, because it took me 2 years to lose 25 pounds. Now, did I implement this fasting every single day those 2 years? Absolutely not. I would go out for dinner with friends at 7-8 p.m. for one night out of the week. Sometimes it's not a big deal. If you are not sticking to your plan, don't discourage yourself. Just keep going. Consistency matters, but it doesn't have to be this rigid consistency that you're guilting yourself over if you miss one evening. If you're watching this and you're struggling with your self-image, I want you to know this. You don't have to punish yourself, and you don't have to hate your body into change. All you have to do is adapt a new identity. And I'm going to tell you that if you adapt this new reality, your method might come to you effortlessly. My method did. I just randomly started fasting. You might have this inspiration to hit the gym. Maybe that method would work for you. Maybe you would feel inspired to go out for a walk. Maybe your neighborhood would do a remodel and it's going to be much more pleasant to walk around in. Just think about it. Once you shift your identity, the world around you changes. Another thing that helped me change my identity a lot is the water manifestation method. If you'd like to learn about it, click on this video right here, and there I describe in detail how to implement this water manifestation method, and it's my favorite. Comment down below what from this video resonated with you the most, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.